Hello and welcome back to another episode of 428 Shibuya Scramble. I'm here with Yoshi,
What's up, folks?
and we did it. We did this last week, right?
Yes, we did.
Wow. It's like we're on a schedule now. So,
Yeah, a weekly schedule.
so surely you'll have remembered what happened last time.
Um, all right, let me blow your mind real quick. I think I might. I
Okay?
think I maybe do. The president, Marlon Brando, was being a real jerk because he does not want to help Osawa um, get access to the secret antivirus, the Norton antivirus, to save his daughter. Um, because someone's in New York or something, but he just really doesn't care, or he's like being like purposely obtuse. Osawa, meanwhile, has finally opened his heart to Kajiwada. Is that his name? The monkey.
Yeah.
So they love each other now, and we ship them. And
They shared a bar of chocolate also.
yeah. Like Lady and the Tramp style. They had it out, and they were both eating from different ends, and then they got to the middle, and well, you know what happens next. Um, anyways, so that's great. They pulled most of the manpower off of Osawa's case, though, or whatever, and Kajiwada just like had to fight to stay there, so they could have that heart to heart. Can you rotate so I can see who else was? I don't think we did. We didn't do Achi. We definitely didn't do Kano because I don't like Kano that
I think we
much.
did Maria. Just a
We
little bit
did,
of
yeah, we
Maria.
did Maria.
She's just hanging out with the
Um,
assassin.
she started to have a couple memories or whatever. Come back.
Yeah.
She started to remember a little bit about Kanan. Kanan was saying like the cutest stuff though. She always says the cutest things like, "You're gonna die." Or,
Oh,
"It's my
honey,
fault that you're
you're
gonna
gonna
die."
die. She has a southern wait, what is it? What did I write down? Polite southern polite accent. Oh,
Yeah,
honey, you're gonna die. Something like that.
she's so cute.
So
How did I do?
I think you did a pretty good job. There's also the reveal that Pretty Honey. Oh no, it wasn't a reveal. That was
That
revealed.
was the week. That was the week before last, I think.
Yeah. Uh, but Pretty Honey left a comment on Osawa's
Oh yeah,
post.
like I got the same result.
All right, so we've got three other folks to deal with. We've got Achi, we've got Kano, and we've got Minorikawa.
Let's check it with the Arch Dog.
All right. What happened last time I saw him? Let me see the summary.
Was he still like carrying Hitomi away from the?
Yeah, that's what happened. They were at the explosion, and Kanan saved Hitomi. Yeah, I'm not reading this. We remember what happened last time.
Yeah.
Achi could hear ambulance and police sirens wailing on the main road. He looked down at Hitomi, slumped on a park bench beside him.
You sure you're not hurt?
He asked quietly, offering her a bottle of water. I'm okay. Hitomi took a sip from the bottle.
Thanks.
Oh,
I
no, no,
think
no.
I've managed to.
I think this is
Oh,
Hitomi.
yeah, yeah. That makes more sense. Thanks for drinking that water. I love watching hot chicks drink water.
Thanks. I think I've managed to calm down some. Some of the color had finally returned to her face.
Oh yeah, look at all that color. So,
Achi began hesitantly.
inside that minivan.
Maria wasn't in there. There was relief in her voice, but also a note of pathos. I got a look in through the windshield. There was a man laid out in the back seat, but nobody else. The dark cloud lifted from Achi's face.
So it wasn't your sister?
No, I didn't see his face, just that he was wearing a business suit. Achi felt the tension ebbing from his body.
That's good then. Then it wasn't her. I'd been worried.
It was a shame about the poor devil who had been killed, though. Who was it, and why had he been there?
Oh, but he's gonna be like so psyched when he finds out it's his rival, Mr. Tanaka.
Who's this? Oh.
So I guess now. Oh.
So,
Can I just read everyone's lines?
so I guess now we're out of leads, Hitomi murmured. She hung her head.
That's not what Hitomi sounds like.
What if they're hanging out together for so long that, like, she's picking up his mannerisms?
Oh yeah, maybe they could eventually just like both sound like some idiot from the Bronx. That's awesome.
So, I guess now we're out of leads, Hitomi murmured. She hung her head.
We could try the surveillance center again for now.
Achi said.
It'll probably give us better odds of finding your sister than just walking around.
I guess you're right. Shall we then?
Hold on.
Achi had a sudden flash of inspiration.
My house is a lot closer from here. Maybe I should ask my dad if we can check the cameras from home.
You can do that?
We have the same system at our house. I'm sure my dad will let us use them.
The two got up and headed for Endo Electronics. Achi decided to let his father know they were coming. He turned on his phone as they walked along. He'd had it off for a while, so first he checked his voicemail. There was one message. Wondering who might have called, he played it back. Alright, who's this? If you
For
had
my money, if I had to guess, I would say that it's Minorikawa.
Okay.
Is this Achiendo's personal cell phone? This is Dr. Seiki from Shibuya Central Hospital.
Do you want who should be the voice of Dr. Saeki? Who is Dr. Seiichi Saeki? Saeki Seiichi, if you're saying it in the actual Japanese way. Seems to be some heart specialist and Suzune's attending physician. Oh, it looks like he's performed successfully the Batista procedure, wherein the left ventricle is reconstructed after a third of it has been removed.
That's really impressive that someone who works at Starbucks could construct a left ventricle.
Yeah, I was gonna make a Dave Bautista joke, but I think that's
Oh,
I couldn't
okay.
think of one on the spot.
That's the guy who,
The left ventricle is wrestled into an RKO.
that's the guy who hangs out with Rocket Raccoon, right?
Yeah. There's something there.
Okay. um, I'll do the voice.
All right. Should we read this again?
Yeah. Is this Achiendo's personal cell phone? This is Dr. Seiki from Shibuya Central Hospital.
Achi's expression stiffened. He pressed the phone closer to his ear.
There's been a sudden change in Suzune's condition. I tried calling your home as well, but got no answer.
Achi felt the edges of his vision growing dim.
As her brother, it would be good if you can come to the hospital as soon as possible. It's...
Achi? Hitomi's voice was full of concern.
Sorry, I just gotta make a call here.
Fingers trembling, Achi dialed his house. The phone rang several times before switching over to the answering machine. It says Maria in the top right.
It does. Little Easter egg.
Little Easter egg for the boys in the chat.
Damn it! Where the hell are you, Dad?
What's wrong? Hitomi asked.
It's Suzune. It sounds like things have gotten pretty bad.
Well, then we need to go to the hospital right away, Hitomi said. She sounded as anxious as Achi was. Nailed it.
We can't go yet.
Achi shook his head quietly.
First, we have to save your sister.
Hitomi bristled angrily at that. What are you talking about? She grabbed Achi by the arm and shook him. Right now you need to be thinking about your sister, mister.
I can't. I made a promise to Suzune. A promise to help people and see things through to the end when something important is on the line. I mean, he's right? He can't do anything for his sister, right? All he can do is be like, hey, I'm really sorry you're dying.
Yeah. He struggled to get the words out.
Nailed it. If I break that promise, then I really am no good to her.
But Hitomi didn't look like she was going to back down. Oh. Oi, get back here. A threatening shout rang out.
It's Aussie.
What?
They must be, right, if they're saying oi.
Oi. Achi looked around, startled, and saw a boy about high school age bolting out from behind a building on a side street. Several slightly older young men were hot on his heels. Achi knew their faces all too well. They were all members of SOS. They caught their quarry just before he could make it out onto the main road. Hey.
Is that the...
Maybe it's the same guy. Hey, gotcha, okay. Newbie. So the kid they were after must have been a member too.
Let me go.
Oh, we'll let you go, all right. After you pay up. Why does he have a... One of the young men snatched the boy by the collar and shoved him against the wall of a nearby building. Ooh, is he giving the boy a kabedon?
I don't know what that is. Sounds dirty. Ew!
The boy's face scrunched up.
What are you talking about?
Playing dumb, eh? Interjected one of the onlookers. Oh, is this someone else? I don't know. We told you that members all have to pay monthly dues, yeah? The privilege of getting to call yourself SOS don't come free after all. Achi felt his blood boil. SOS was trying to pull a shakedown on this new kid under the guise of calling it dues. And a shakedown is slang for extortion. A full-fledged crime. Naturally, the direct shakedown, "Give me all your money, punk," is quite unpleasant. But more roundabout ways of being shaken down can still leave a bad taste in one's mouth. Someone who was surrounded on the street by 8 people in pompadours who said, "Begging your pardon, but could you please hand over your money?" might suffer no physical harm, but would still be the victim of a shakedown.
Fascinating.
Have you seen a pompadour in real life?
That's a hairstyle, right?
Yeah. It's like where
like Khan from King of the Hill?
I don't know this reference.
Oh.
But yeah, like all the hair, I guess like Elvis. When you think of Elvis Presley's hairstyle, where it's all like gelled up front.
Yeah, I have not seen one in real life.
I have.
Because it's the 2000s.
It would have been unthinkable for them to do something like this back when Achi was running the show.
Hey,
He barked.
let the kid go.
He marched toward the group. Say what now? That wasn't good. I don't like that one.
It wasn't, but, you know, I'm not really one to talk.
They turned to look, their faces immediately going pale. Oi, hey, Achi.
Let him go.
Achi focused his glare on the fellow holding the kid until he released his grip.
You guys always go around doing stuff like this?
None of the gang members answered. They merely turned their gazes glumly to the ground.
Hey,
Achi turned to the younger boy.
since when have they been doing this?
But of course he realized there was no way the newbie would have been able to tell him. Would be able to tell him.
Never mind, you can go.
Achi gestured toward the main road. The boy was quick to run off. Achi waited until the boy was gone before turning back to the others.
Does Susumu know you're going around collecting dues like this?
He asked. Alright, let's see if I can do this. Man, we don't got to tell you that.
It's Irish now?
Not since you deserted.
What did you just say?
Achi leaned in close, getting right in the guy's face. He was met with a defiant sneer. This ain't the old SOS anymore. Not the old SOS? Achi thought back to the other gang member he'd run into earlier, with a malicious gleam in his eyes.
That guy. Pretty sure he said his name was Kiryu.
Back when Achi had been with SOS, he'd never have let a guy like that get away with acting all high and mighty. Suddenly, Achi heard a voice from behind him. And it was...
Well. If it ain't our legendary... Damn it.
An instant later, he took a hard blow to the side of the head. I don't have this guy in my notes. Yeah, I don't see him. I guess that was before I started taking notes.
Oh, do we know this guy, though?
Although I do have... I think he's appeared before. I do have SOS Kid in yours. I don't know if that's the same guy. Oh well.
I think that might not be, but I don't know.
Yeah. So it's up to you.
It's okay.
If he says something else. Oh, he does say something else.
Here. I was just looking out for some small fry, but looks like I landed me a big one.
Achi's head swam, his vision fading in and out. Before he had a chance to recover, something smashed into his knee. He lay crumpled on the ground, unable to retaliate as kicks and punches rained down on him. Even after Achi could no longer move, the beating didn't stop. His ruptured eardrums could barely make out the sound of Hitomi screaming.
Hitomi, run!
With his final plea silenced before it reached his lips, Achi felt his consciousness battered away.
Seems not good.
Yeah, that's a bad end. Kiryu turned up out of nowhere and gave Achi a beatdown with a piece of timber. But before he attacked Achi, Kiryu had run into someone else. That person said something that changed what Kiryu did. The individual in question needs to say something different to ensure Kiryu doesn't go to Dogonzaka while Achi and Tomi are there. Wow, I'm really nailing these accents.
Yeah. Wait, isn't that Minorikawa though?
Who?
The person they run into?
Is it? Is that one?
Because Minorikawa was talking to some of those folks, right?
I guess so. I don't remember him talking to that guy.
Oh, okay. He was talking to a pair of folks.
But it could be. It's like a 50% chance that it's Minorikawa.
Alright, so should we go over to Minorikawa? I mean, what's the worst thing that could happen?
The worst thing that could happen is I have to do these accents again. But yeah, we can try it. Previously, he chased after Miku, witnessed an explosion, and then he gets word that Toyama killed himself. That's what happened.
Okay.
Oh yeah, he knows about the virus.
Yeah, it's a scoop.
Minorikawa needed to get back to the editing office right away. But despite the urgency, he barely stumbled along. He was swaying on his feet, only half aware of where he was even going.
No, this is all some sick joke.
He just couldn't accept that Toyama was dead. He let out a lifeless sigh. A cynical smile crept onto his face.
The man always did insist on having his own way. But killing himself...
Back when he was still a novice reporter, Minorikawa had written a piece about a middle school girl who'd committed suicide. The school had made a statement denying that bullying had been a factor, and so most of the media had reported that she had suffered a nervous breakdown over entrance exams. A nervous breakdown is a period of mental illness manifesting as panic disorder, stress-induced anxiety, or the like. The term is commonly used to refer to such serious health issues such as schizophrenia or bipolar disorder. Yeah. Sorry, my yawning stopped me from reading the rest. But something about the case had kept nagging at him. Had her death really been a suicide?
No, she was bullied for having a long neck. It wasn't even that long, it was just a little longer than that.
The more
she didn't have to die.
He interviewed about the incident, the more his doubts grew. The city news editor, however, would not allow him to conduct a follow-up investigation. And the reason why was simple. 1 reason why, 13 reasons why.
13.
This was the sort of thing that happened every day. They couldn't waste time on a case that was already on the books. It was more important for a reporter to find news stories than to squander time engrossed in a case that was old news. Minorikawa understood the editor's decision well enough. But that didn't mean he had to like it. He'd been sulking up on the roof, slowly nursing a cigarette, when the paper's local news copy editor, Toyama, happened to drop by. Oh, I thought this was... okay, this is a flashback. I thought he was just hanging out on a rooftop and Toyama was just standing right behind him watching.
No. I mean, yes, but in the past.
If you're wondering what a copy editor is, at a newspaper there's this employee who evaluates the quality and suitability of reporters' copy coverage. That's a copy editor. It's basically the boss.
No. It's not the boss.
Effectively.
I was the copy editor for my college paper first semester or two.
Oh, he's
they don't actually do much.
They just
you mostly just say like you're not supposed to have this comma here, or like make sure that the So journalistic conventions are different from other writing conventions, like in a lot of little ways. Like, for example, if you were to abbreviate a state, if you were to say uh, Florida, usually like the postal code is FL, so you usually would say FL if you were to abbreviate it. But in journalism, you're supposed to write F, like big F, little L, little A, period. So honestly, most of what a copy editor does
Is
is
point
like
that out.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Hey, this FL here is supposed to be FLA. No, that's my abbreviation of Fruit Loops. It's an article about Fruit Loops. Well, FL is fine then.
This ain't none of the follow-up interviews
Toyama asked.
about that girl's suicide.
That girl was actually Chiharu Fuyutsuki. You know, after reading her diary, Minodikawa became convinced that it wasn't an ordinary suicide. 6 years from now, Minodikawa will run into a certain teacher, and the investigation into the student's death will be reopened. But that's another story for another time.
Ooh, sequel.
I think this is a reference, because there's like another game that he appears in, and that's probably a reference to that.
Okay. Yeah.
Minodikawa expelled a plume of his smoke along with his sigh. Nothing tasted quite as bad as a cigarette when he was down in the dumps.
So what are you gonna do? I'm not gonna do anything.
Minodikawa said.
Editor told me no. Oh. Editor said not to? You sound like a child.
The rebuff made Minodikawa's temper flare.
There are other interviews to do. I want to follow up on this, but there isn't any time. You dumbass.
Toyama hauled off and hit him right across the face.
What happened to I write what I feel in my heart? That's the one thing I refuse to back down on. What happened to the guy who used to bitch at me like that?
Toyama's words hit their mark with painful precision.
The interviews aren't over until you have what you need. No, you refuse to let them be over. Wait, is this...
I think this is still Toyama.
Yeah, okay. The interviews aren't over until you have what you need. No, you refuse to let them be over. You go after the truth no matter what anyone tells you. Isn't that what being a journalist is all about?
Minodikawa scowled in chagrin. The man was exactly right.
Until you have what you need.
Those words had stuck with Minodikawa ever since. In fact, he'd quit the paper to become a freelancer because he couldn't do his job the way he wanted while trapped in that hierarchy. Now he wondered... Wait,
What if Toyama hadn't killed himself? But had instead been the victim of a terrorist attack?
But after considering the idea for a moment, he thought bitterly.
So what?
The reasons and the details hardly mattered at this point. What mattered was that Toyama was dead. Minodikawa sat down listlessly and stared up at the sky. The blank swath of blue made him feel all the more worn out. Just what had all of the days of running around been for? He felt so empty, so hollowed out by loss. All his motivation had drained away. He had no idea what he should do next.
Minodikawa. What should you do?
He tried to listen to his inner voice.
Ooh, let's get our passion back. Especially with this music in the background.
You've forgotten your passion. You need to get that back. Yeah. That was his only option, really. He needed to turn back the clock to reclaim the fire that used to burn inside him. And he knew just how to do that. Before he could, however, a young man stumbled across his path, taking a nasty fall on the pavement. Alright, who is this guy?
Um, it's one of the SOS guys.
Alright, who wants to do the accent? Should I do it?
I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll do it. Ew. Oh, damn, that hurts.
The youngster scrambled back to his feet and turned to Minotikawa with a snarl.
Uh, wait, he's saying this? The
Yeah.
youngster's saying this?
Yeah, the youngster's saying
What
this.
are you looking at, pal?
The young man clutched a piece of timber like a club. There was a nasty gleam in his eyes.
I'm not looking at anything.
Minotikawa sighed.
I just happen to be looking in your direction. Shut your yip. Apologize, bitch. Now.
The punk raised his cudgel.
What for? You tripped me, man. Ain't you gonna apologize for that?
The kid had stumbled all on his own, but was probably too embarrassed to admit it.
Guess he's got to vent his anger at someone. Listen, kid.
Minotikawa said.
It's not my fault you're such a klutz.
You know, like the pedal in a car that's got a manual transmission? Oh, that's a clutch. Okay, so then like lumps of earth or clay. Those are clods, you say? Right, so then we're talking about a sort of social get-together for coffee and conversation. Huh? Ah, right, that's a clatch. Is it when you try to fix something using stuff that isn't really meant for that purpose? That's a kludge? Okay.
Hell you just say to me? You got a death wish, pal?
With a murderous glare, the punk advanced on him, brandishing a weapon.
Hey,
Minotikawa said. Ooh.
bring it on.
Bring it on.
Yeah. Bring it on.
The punk swung his wooden club without a moment's hesitation. It struck Minotikawa in the shoulder, knocking him off balance.
Whoa, okay. Don't really bring it on. Nah, man. It's too late for take-backs.
Let's take back tonight. With a nasty little grin, the young fellow swung again, then again, catching Minotikawa in the arm and side. Only when the journalist was curled up in a battered ball on the ground did the kid finally let up.
Hey, good to get a little warm-up and in before I take down that other bitch.
Weapons still in hand, the punk marched off toward Dogenzaka.
Oh, wait, so that didn't work, right?
Yeah, that didn't work.
Should we go back? Should we go back?
Did you want to go back, or do you want to write it out? I thought that would be a bad end, but I guess we're still going a little bit.
Alright, let's write it out.
Alright, I think this is me. Just
Okay.
scanning. Taxi driver, yeah. Oh man, what was my voice for him? I think it was like supposed to be really cool. Hey,
Yeah, that's what I remember too.
are you okay? Something like that. Minotikawa stirred to find Kimizuka at his side. Once again, the man had impeccable timing. Do you need a ride somewhere, sir? Somewhere, maybe, sir? The driver asked, keeping his tone polite.
Yeah, I do. To the hospital.
I think this is going to be a bad end. It feels like it's going to be a bad end, like, really soon. Okay.
Okay. Alright.
Pummeled. A hot-headed young punk gave Minotikawa a bad beating enough to send him to the hospital.
Yeah, I don't think we need a hint for this. Come on.
Alright, so we're just going to change that.
Yeah, let's just change that up real quick.
Did we say bring it on to someone before when they were threatening to hit him? I think it was like Owadai, wasn't it?
Owada?
The when he was arguing with the play guy director,
I
and he
don't
held out a
remember
hammer,
much.
and like we had Minotikawa say like, "Hit me."
That's a maybe.
That was a long time ago.
All right, let's try. Is it fun hitting people with that thing? Is it fun hitting people with that thing?
The corner of the punk's mouth curled up.
Oh yeah, real fun. Only a dumbass beats people with their bare hands. You just wind up hurting your fists. If you're gonna enjoy some violence, you gotta have yourself a weapon. Aha, I see. In that case, maybe give it a rest for that stick, yeah? Huh? What for?
The punk scowled in irritation.
Don't get me wrong.
Minotikawa said.
I'm just saying there have to be better weapons than that. Something that could take a man down in a single blow.
The kid stopped to consider Minotikawa's words for a moment.
I get ya. Yeah, you might be right about that. And I think I have just the thing. May as well go with my usual.
He tossed away the piece of wood on the side of the road.
Don't you go any... Oh. Don't you go anywhere till I get back. Got it? Yeah, sure thing.
Minotikawa watched as the punk headed back the way he'd come.
Man,
He murmured.
what a dumbass.
Looking around, he spotted a taxi parked close by. Ooh. It was Kimizuka. Do you need a ride, sir? Kimizuka asked, all politeness as he opened the back door. Get in my car. If you're heading to that publishing office again, I can get you there in 10 minutes.
I mean, our spin that we're putting on this aside, this is supposed to be homoerotic, right? With
Yeah.
this music and stuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I'm going off of. Kimizuka's driving was as smooth as always. He wove his way skillfully through a series of back streets. There was some big explosion earlier, he explained. The main roads are all gridlocked.
Yep.
Minotikawa muttered.
Nailed it. I was there when it happened.
Oh, wow. Really? I'm glad to see you're not hurt, then. Still, what a terrible thing. That minivan. I hear someone was inside when it exploded. I'm not sure if you were aware.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Oh ho, nothing gets past a reporter like you, I see. Kimizuka flashed Minotikawa an approving smile through the rearview mirror. That's a smile? How much have you heard then? Rumor has it that the person who died was a middle-aged man.
Oh, huh.
We taxi drivers tend to hear quite a bit ourselves. Kimizuka chuckled, but Minotikawa just cast his eyes down forlornly. You look tired, sir. Ooh.
Yeah, I guess so.
His reply was barely audible. Suddenly, someone rushed out into the street right in front of the cab.
Look out!
There was a heavy thunk as the taxi crashed into the pedestrian. Screeching to a halt, Kimizuka and Minotikawa jumped out of the vehicle to find a young man splayed out on the street. Hey, the driver called. You all right? The fallen pedestrian was practically still a kid, and he wasn't moving. Kimizuka hunkered down and jostled his shoulder, then his expression stiffened in alarm. Minotikawa checked the young man's pulse, but couldn't detect any heartbeat. Oh no, Kimizuka said. This is... Tears began to well up in his eyes. Minotikawa turned to him in surprise.
You knew him?
I did. Kimizuka cradled the young man in his arms. I'm sorry, but you'll have to find yourself another taxi, he said. I'm going to turn myself in to the police. Looking down at the boy's unmoving form, Minorikawa felt a pang of guilt.
No.
He said,
I'm the one who's been asking you to drive around so recklessly all day. This is on me, too.
but
I'll go with you to the cops.
the two men decided to head to the station together to surrender themselves. There probably wouldn't be time to work on writing articles while they were being interrogated, but that was just how it'd have to be. This was the right thing to do. Minorikawa just had to keep telling himself that, knowing that it was the truth. Achi, come on, man. Minorikawa's day ended in disaster when the taxi he was riding hit a young man, Achi, who ran out into the street. But why'd the kid rush out into the intersection like that? The answer lies in Achi's story. Are we just gonna keep bouncing back and forth between
That's
these
what
two?
it feels like, yeah.
Did you want to, or did you want to break with the cycle?
We can move over to someone else.
Do you want to do Achi, or?
Wait, oh, can we break it? Or is it just gonna keep sending us, like...
Because I think that Kiryu guy, isn't going to appear, so
Oh, okay.
now we have to stop him from running into the street.
Okay, sure.
Let's see, how much can we skip? Oh, no, it drops us right here.
Oh, that guy, pretty sure his name was Kiryu.
Back when Achi had been with SOS, he'd never have let a guy like that get away with acting all high and mighty. Now it seemed like all these young fellows were ready to follow suit, eager to take him down a peg.
Is this you or me?
I think this is me.
Okay.
Your old news pup.
He's Scottish now? Ain't your business to tell us how to do things.
Achi felt a confusing flood of anger and sadness that he couldn't quite control.
I'm not messing around here, you guys.
He grabbed the nearest punk by the collar and hefted him up in the air. Then someone shouted from behind him. Oi! What are you doing? Oh, it's this guy. Who is Susumu? I feel like we have him in the notes somewhere. I'm Susumu. Nice. Achi put the guy down and turned around to see Susumu standing there.
You have a note for him?
No, I don't. It just says cool. But I've also already kind of given him the punks like accents. So I wonder if I should give him an accent too.
Yeah, he should be from maybe just a posh British accent?
Mind telling me just what's going on here, Achi? Susumu flashed his underlings a sharp glare. They immediately took to their heels. Ooh. Alright, here's the decision.
Okay, so we need to talk to Susumu.
All
Right. We can't go running around in the street getting hit by
Yeah.
taxis.
You gotta look both ways. Just what the hell was going on with SOS? Achi needed to talk to Susumu. I asked what was going on here. There was a threatening note in Susumu's voice.
Nailed it. That's what I want to know. What the hell has happened to SOS, man?
Susumu's face twisted with displeasure. You're an outsider now. That's none of your business.
I don't give a damn if it's my business or not. When I left you in charge of SOS,
You shut your damn mouth, Susumu roared. Yeah, that's right. You left me in charge. So don't you dare give me any lip now about how I run things. His sudden ferocity left Achi at a loss for words. You're not the one busting your ass out here, I am. Susumu stalked toward Achi, his face red with emotion. I've had to work so hard to keep things going with you gone. Do you have any idea what it's been like? Do you know what I've had to put myself through to keep SOS together? There's nothing Achi could say to that. He just kept his mouth shut and let Susumu talk. You were gone. I thought maybe I could do things like you did. All at once, Susumu seemed to deflate a little. He hung his head, hiding his face. And if I couldn't be like you, then...
Hey man, I get it. And I'm sorry.
But Susumu kept his face averted. Please, he muttered. Stay out of our business. Then he turned on his heel and headed off without looking back. Achi watched him leave, feeling a painful sting. I guess Hitomi's been watching this whole thing. She watched him get beat up with a piece of wood and run over by a car. Achi? Hitomi asked after Susumu was gone. Are you sure you're okay leaving things like this? Achi shrugged heavily.
Susumu said he's doing what he can. It's not my place to butt in.
He turned his back on Hitomi. He still needed a moment. Achi, you're being unreasonable.
About what?
He felt like he'd been wounded to his very core, and he wasn't sure what to do about it. You want to help people who are in trouble, right? Hitomi asked quietly.
Yeah, I guess.
Achi's voice was glum. Nailed it. Well, I'm in a whole lot of trouble right now.
Yeah, I know that.
No, Achi, you don't. Hitomi's tone was clipped and firm. Please, go to your sister.
What are you talking about? That doesn't matter now.
Yes, it does. Hitomi's shout stopped him in his tracks. Achi, right now the thing I'm having the most trouble with is that you won't go to the hospital. Don't you get it? How can I possibly be happy with you helping me if you have to sacrifice your own sister to do it? Achi couldn't answer that, and he knew it. Please, go to the hospital. I'm asking you to, and I'm definitely someone in trouble, so it doesn't count as breaking your promise, alright?
I appreciate that.
Achi said softly.
And I'll remember it when this is all done. And I'll remember it when this is all done.
Achi!
I'm sorry, I've made up my mind. We can go to Suzune after we've rescued your sister.
Hitomi looked like she had more to say, but Achi grabbed her by the hand and dragged her off toward Endo Electronics. As they turned a corner, Achi caught sight of a group of foreign men heading in their direction on the other side
Right.
of the street. The men saw them too, and immediately broke into a run towards them.
Damn it. How are there still more people chasing after us? And why are they so cute?
Achi spun around and started to sprint in the other direction. Yeah, these guys, they look like they're going to be part of a boy band.
Yeah,
Except for,
especially on the right. The guy on the right.
Yeah.
He could be a model.
they're all models, except for that one haggard-looking guy. Maybe these new guys were associates of the foreign thug who'd fought the man with the cane. Achi mulled that over as they ran, getting farther and farther from Dogonzaga. The crooks were clearly pretty familiar with the layout of Shibuya. They weren't easy to lose. Achi and Otomi finally lost sight of them, somewhere around Nanpeidai, finally stopping once they got to Sakuragaoka.
You all right?
Achi panted. Yes, I think so.
Well, guess who wound up coming here anyway?
Hitomi raised an eyebrow in confusion.
Suzune's hospital. It's just over there.
In that case, can you please just go and see her? She fixed him with a look of earnest pleading, and despite his misgivings, Achi nodded. Shibuya Central Hospital was one of the foremost general hospitals in Japan, outfitted with top-notch medical facilities and staffed by highly skilled personnel. Individuals like Suzune with rare blood types were sent to the hospital from far and wide because of its cutting-edge hematology center, which is a hospital division that deals with blood. So its goal is to provide high-end care to patients with blood disorders, including blood screening, treatments, transfusions, the management and supply of blood products, and other related blood services. Achi asked Hitomi to stay in the waiting area while he headed on into the hospital proper. From the visitor's entrance, he passed by the nurse's station, then entered the cardiovascular medicine section, and walked along a row of examination rooms. Did you know the cardiovascular system includes the heart as well? The various blood vessels that circulate blood throughout the body? Cardiovascular medicine deals with heart and blood issues such as
It's
angina.
pronounced angina.
Angina. I almost said angina.
I I figured you would.
Heart attacks, heart failure, irregular pulse, and the like. He walked by the first room as quietly as possible, catching sight of a mother and daughter sitting together in chairs in the hallway. The mother was crying softly.
Takuya, he's only 15.
She murmured under her breath. The name Takuya didn't ring a bell. It was the only 15 that got a reaction out of Achi. Ooh, what kind of reaction?
Downstairs reaction? Only 15.
He couldn't imagine anything good coming after that.
He's only 15 and he won Math Olympiad.
He's only 15 and he won the lottery. How'd he get a lottery? To be cruelly taken away when one was still so young. Achi could feel the woman's pain as deeply as if it were his own. When he reached Suzune's room, Dr. Saeki, the attending physician, explained her condition. The doctor did his best to keep his explanation simple, but Achi was too worked up to process much of what he said. He did manage to wrap his head around a few things. At around 10 o'clock that morning, Suzune had a seizure. For a while it had been touch and go, but finally her condition had stabilized. However, since she hadn't regained consciousness yet, she wasn't allowed any visitors. That was the gist, as far as Achi could tell.
What's this guy? Or do you want me?
That's the doctor.
Oh, he
We
has
did him earlier. He was in the voicemail. I don't remember what
okay.
accent we gave him.
Okay. Yeah, I did it. He sounded like Montgomery Burns. It's like, what's your father doing today?
Well, let me write it down so I don't... Just in case he comes back yet again.
He still hasn't come by.
Dr. Saeki said. Achi wasn't sure what to tell him. It was certainly odd. There was no way his father wouldn't have rushed right to the hospital if he'd heard Suzune had taken a turn for the worse.
I'll give you a call once she's woken up. For now, you can head on home for the day. All right. Please keep a close eye on her, Doctor.
Somberly, Achi went to find Hitomi in the waiting area.
But she was gone. Maybe. Is she gone? Yeah, she's gone.
Outpatient reception had closed for the day, leaving the hospital quiet. His footsteps echoed softly in the corridors. Then, as he walked along, a peculiar sound drew his attention. It had come from over by the base of a nearby stairwell. Achi took a peek around the corner. The sight that greeted him nearly made him gasp aloud. In the dim light up ahead, he saw Kanan, and she had some white guy pressed against the wall, a knife to his throat. Achi quickly yanked his head back out of view. Could it be? Was this the man Kanan said she was after? Achi had to resist the urge to go charging out there. Some amateur heading in a half-cocked might well be more of a liability to Kanan than any sort of help. He heard her mutter something to the man in English.
This
This is Kanan, I think. And you're
Okay.
voicing, and I'm voicing the other guy.
We know nothing about Alphard's background, nationality, sex, age.
Achi could barely make out the words, but since it was all in English, he had no idea what they meant.
But we do know that whoever they are, they have connections to Langley.
Langley is slang for the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency, headquartered in Langley, Virginia, similar to referring to the Japanese government as Nagatacho. The CIA has other nicknames, including the Company, the Agency, the Second Government, the Invisible Government, and the Coup Makers. Achi peeked out again, very cautiously, in time to see the man raise an eyebrow at Kanan's words. Interesting. That doesn't mean you need to threaten me at knife point, though. He flashed her a thin smile.
It does, actually. Because I happen to know that you're a CIA agent.
Technically known as officers, the CIA refers to its own spies as agents. Someone in charge of directing agents is called a case officer. Case officers are stationed at embassies across the world in the public guise of diplomats, soldiers, and the like. We knew this guy was a CIA agent when we first saw him, didn't we?
I guess. What was he ever supposed to be?
And he just said he worked at the embassy,
Oh.
I think. And that his name was John Hancock.
Right.
No sooner were Kanan's words out than the man grabbed her arm and tried to hurl her against the wall. Just before her head connected, though, she jackknifed her upper body forward and planted both feet against the wall and kicked off with tremendous force. She used her momentum to launch herself forward, regaining her position with her knife against the man's throat. But during the brief opening, the man had managed to draw a gun from inside his jacket. Now the barrel was pressed right against Kanan's heart. Hey guys. Achi swallowed the lump in his throat.
How about we call a truce?
Kanan said softly. She withdrew her knife. Yeah, sounds like you and me are both after the same thing. The man likewise lowered his gun. With a faint smile, Kanan turned her back on him and vanished down the adjacent stairwell. Achi had no idea what had just happened. They'd stopped fighting, though, so this guy probably wasn't Kanan's mastermind after all. If only Achi spoke a little English, he might have been able to follow their conversation. He found himself wishing he'd taken school more seriously. When he looked again, he saw that the man, too, had disappeared. Mysterious. Hitomi stood up from her chair as Achi hurried into the waiting area. "How's Suzune?" she asked.
But now she's not in any immediate danger, they said.
That's good to hear.
But more importantly, Kaden was here just now.
What? Why?
I'm not sure. I'm not smart enough to figure that out.
Achi slumped his shoulders. Huh? What? I'm not quite sure what you mean.
Exactly. I couldn't understand anything she was saying.
Hell, he couldn't even figure out how to get through to Hitomi. Ooh, who do you think this is?
If I had to guess, for my money, I'm not 100%, but if I had to guess, I would say it's probably Shizuo. So it's like, may I have a moment?
A voice spoke unexpectedly from behind Achi. His breath
Oh,
caught
he's
in his
close, though.
throat as he turned around. May I have a moment? Standing there was a man Kanan had been struggling with.
What's up?
Achi asked. He tried to sound as nonchalant as possible, but the man wasn't looking at Achi. You're Hitomi Osawa, is that right? Yes?
Hey,
Achi snapped.
keep your distance.
He stepped protectively in front of Hitomi.
This guy, he's not what he looks like.
Achi clenched his fists and adopted a defensive posture. Huh? Huh? Hitomi seemed panicked. Achi said,
I don't know who he is, but he's not our friend. I don't know who he is, but he's not our friend.
The man calmly reached into his jacket pocket. Fearing he might be about to draw a gun, Achi braced for action. My name's Jack Stanley. Look at my John Hancock. I'm a member of Regional Security Office Security Assistance Officer, and this card expires December 31st, 2009. Oh, he does say it right there. I'm a Security Assistance Officer with the U.S. Embassy. Achi held back his punch as a man held out his ID card. Diplomats are issued diplomatic passports and diplomatic ID cards by their home governments. Japan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs also issues its own form of diplomatic identification card. Help maintain their false identities for official foreign mission. I'm reading the fine text there. It's not that interesting.
Embassy?
What does someone from the U.S. Embassy want with me? Hitomi asked timidly. You're being targeted by a dangerous criminal. I'm here to take you into protective custody.
Custody?
Achi's temper flared.
Buzz off, pal. We're busy here.
Busy searching for Maria Osawa? Stanley asked. Achi and Hitomi exchanged glances. I know the full details of the trouble you currently find yourselves in,
Well, all right then.
Achi said.
Then you should know we don't have time to get taken into custody.
Look at those feet in the top right.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
I'm afraid you don't understand the situation we're dealing with. We're up against a dangerous international criminal here. Taking reckless action is only going to put her life in danger. Don't be a fool.
This.
This is no time to play the knight in shining armor.
Hey,
Achi was infuriated, but he couldn't think of a comeback. Hey! After all, it was true that Hitomi had run into danger time and again while she was with him. Run into danger time. But I'm already safe, Hitomi insisted. I'm only here right now because Achi has been protecting me. She eyed Stanley sharply. I've got Achi with me. I don't need your protection. Achi felt a surge of pride that practically brought tears to his eyes. If Hitomi would have let him, he'd have given her an enormous hug. Stanley grimaced in resignation. All right. In that case, how about I join your search for Maria? I can help keep you safe that way instead. I don't know. Hitomi grabbed hold of Achi's sleeve. This Stanley fellow didn't have the most trustworthy face, Achi thought. But he realized that he might be biased after being chased around by foreigners all day. After all, if this guy really were after Hitomi, he'd probably have already made a show of force. Not only did he have a gun on him, he was sufficiently skilled in martial arts to hold his own against Kanan. He'd have no trouble taking down a single unarmed opponent like Achi.
Hitomi, I get the impression that this Stanley guy is not our enemy right now.
Hitomi gave a slight nod. All right. I trust your judgment on this, Achi. Now then, what's the plan from here? Stanley asked. Not wandering aimlessly around town, I hope. There was a trace of snideness in his voice.
You could just keep your mouth shut.
Achi replied.
We can wander around town all day if we feel like it. Two can play the snarky game,
he thought to himself. Poor Hitomi looked distressed. Very well. If that's what you want, I can stay quiet. But first, I need to inform the police that I have Miss Osawa in my custody. Wait, hold on, Hitomi blurted. I forgot that was me. That isn't a good idea. Stanley inclined his head. Why's that? Well, since you already seem to know most of the story, Hitomi quickly explained the kidnapper's threat and described the search for the minivan. And then the minivan exploded! Stanley remained quiet, listening with obvious interest. I see, he said when she'd finished. Still, when that minivan exploded, didn't that make your promise to the kidnappers a moot point? Hitomi nodded. I suppose it did, didn't it? Let me ask just one more question. Do either of you know a detective by the name of Tateno? No, we haven't run into any detectives. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, exactly. The only folks we seem to run into are guys who are after Hitomi.
I see. A grim expression crossed Stanley's face. Right. I'm going to get in touch with the investigation task force. I'll have them contact your parents for you. Would you mind speaking with them so they can confirm it's really you? Sure, alright, Hitomi said. Stanley got on his wireless and described the current circumstances to the police. And then the minivan exploded. I think this is
Who
the
is
doctor.
this?
But if I had to guess for my money, it's Shizuo. It's Pretty Honey.
Miss Rando, hold on.
Suddenly, Dr. Saeki appeared, running down the hallway, arm in arm with Shizuo.
There's something I forgot to tell you. Regarding your father. Oh?
Achi got a sinking feeling.
I got a call from him yesterday afternoon. And he asked me something rather odd.
Who is the dad? This is your part.
Oh. Preparations for a transplant? I'm sorry. I'm not entirely sure I understand what you're asking.
Okay, I was the dad. It was me doing my best Achi impression. Saiki clutched the receiver. Daisuke Endo's brooding tone was more than a little disturbing.
No, it's alright,
Endo said.
this is all just difficult to talk about, Doctor. Please, forget I said anything. There's just one important thing I wanted to let you know.
Yes?
There's going to be a brain-dead woman coming your way at, probably around 9 o'clock this evening, I expect. Her blood type is Bombay.
Bombay was the extremely rare blood type that Endo's daughter Suzune possessed. Any transplant donor for Suzune would also need to have the Bombay blood type.
Since she has the same blood type as Suzune, the transplant itself isn't an issue.
What is it? I don't know what this accent's going on. Whatever.
The only thing I'm
You're
concerned
doing great.
about is whether the procedure can be done within the limited time window. And I hate to trouble you, but I just called because I think it would be best to prepare for the surgery as soon as possible.
The more Saiki heard, the more disturbed he grew. It felt like he was listening this man go on some strange delusion.
Doctor, please take good care of Suzune. Click.
With that, Endo hung up. Achi kept quiet as he listened to Dr. Saiki tell his story.
Of course, that was yesterday, and I still haven't heard anything about a brain-dead girl turning up. After all, only God would know when someone would wind up in a state of brain death. But still, there was just something very strange about what your father said. It was as if he was certain that someone was going to wind up brain dead, or... Just stop right there!
Achi exclaimed. Stanley and Atomi turned in surprise. They were still in the middle of their wireless call to the police.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong.
The doctor said hastily.
I'm not trying to imply that your father would hurt anyone. What I'm worried about is your father's mental state, and... No!
Achi interrupted him again.
That's not it!
His own words from earlier spun within his head.
So long as we have these cameras, this guy has nowhere to run.
The security cameras.
I'm sure this is the place.
The man with the cane. He'd been on the phone with someone.
That didn't mean anything. It was just a coincidence. It couldn't be true.
Achi searched desperately for some other explanation. That was it. Anyone from the downtown committee could have used the camera monitoring room.
Yeah, no one's been by to check today.
Nothing wrong with a little nap, yeah? I don't remember who always said that guy. No dice. No one from downtown had been by the surveillance room today. It couldn't be. It couldn't. Achi began to tremble. Is something the matter? Hitomi asked. Achi, you're pale as a ghost. Achi gazed beseechingly back into her face. With just one simple question, he could clear this whole thing up.
Please tell me I'm overthinking this.
He prayed inwardly before asking.
Hitomi, would you mind telling me your blood type?
Why do you ask?
Please, just tell me.
I have a sort of a weird blood type, Hitomi said. It's called Bombay. The last piece of the puzzle fell into place. There was no longer any room for doubt. Achi found himself facing a sad and painful truth.
What? What?
With an anguished scream, Achi punched the wall as hard as he could. But his fist still didn't hurt as much as his heart.
Dad, what?
Ooh, we got to be continued.
Nice. It's probably a good place to stop for tonight.
Yeah. Alright. So, what did you think? What do you think about that reveal?
It's pretty spicy. I think maybe Achi's dad might be up to no good and in cahoots with the kidnappers, if I had to guess.
Not, do you think the head kidnapper is still, if you had to guess, for your money, Kano's
Shizuo?
girlfriend's?
Yes. Yes, 100%.
So, thoughts, impressions, theories? What do you think's gonna happen?
Nah, I never know anything. I never know anything. I have no idea what's going to happen.
Wait, what happened? Minorikawa... Oh yeah, I guess we didn't find out what happened to him. Last we saw, he was turning himself in.
Yeah, but that was a bad end.
Yeah. Seems like he'll just be in the cab. We didn't really check in on anyone else, did we?
Nope. It's mostly Achi Day.
Nice. So we're now in the cooldown portion. Any interesting food facts? I guess I don't have any.
I had a dream that my mom put all the cans of Chef Boyardee in the fridge, and I was like, "Mom, these don't need to go in the fridge. Like they'll be good for years. They're canned goods. Canned goods generally don't need to go in the fridge." And she was like, "Oh, I didn't know that." So, if you got any Chef Boyardee, it doesn't belong in the fridge unless it's been opened.
What about, like, if you put it in the freezer and you want to make like a Chef Boyardee pop?
Don't do that.
Could be
Don't
good.
do that. No, please don't do that. If anyone's listening to this, please don't do that.
Well, I guess that's it for today. We will catch you guys next time. Hopefully we can keep this up.
Yeah, I think we probably can.
It's possible. It's always been a possibility, you know.
All right, folks.
See ya.